This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, R.O.S.E Resources outreach to safeguard the elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of R.O.S.E, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About Scams. My name is Brian Watson, and I have the pleasure of filling in for Joyce Petrowski this week and for the next 2 weeks as well. I am a community outreach specialist for R.O.S.E, Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly, and we are in the prevention business. We want to prevent people from being scammed. We run in a circle of people that see the terrible effects of people losing their money, and it affects them emotionally, physically, financially, and we are extremely passionate about people being protected from these nasty scammers that are out there. So today's episode is sometimes we have to intervene. And let me start out with this question. How many of you out there have seen the show, What Would You Do, on ABC? It's a show hosted by John Quinones. It's been on for a very, very long time, and they put people in like scenarios. It's one of those shows with hidden cameras, and they'll set up in a restaurant or grocery store or out on the street, and they use actors, and they set up these scenarios to put people in an awkward situation. A lot of them are very common, is like someone being mean, like a mom being mean to her kids, or an employer being very mean to an employee at a grocery store. Or sometimes it's a bullying episode where someone's being bullied and they want to see if someone will intervene. I watched one recently where they set up in a diner, a little coffee shop diner, and these people were put water on the ground and were pretending to slip and fall. And they were trying to get the patrons, the customers, to, back up their story and lie to the owners of the restaurant. So it's a fun show. It's also very awkward because they show the people debating whether to intervene or to step in. But they play out these scenarios, and it's really a case study on human nature. At what point would we intervene, or do we just stick to ourselves? Because there's a risk. If you intervene, things could go bad, right? The safest thing a lot of times is not to do anything. So it's a great show. It's been on for a very long time because it's entertaining, but it also gives us a view into, how we work as human beings. So I had a recent experience that could have been an episode of What Would You Do? And actually, if the hidden cameras had come out, I would have been like, yep, you got me. I could see that. So this is what happened. This was sometime last fall. I accompanied my mother to a doctor's appointment, and it was a very small waiting room. And everyone's like tightly packed in chairs, and you could kind of hear everything. So you just try to mind your own business. But there was a gentleman sitting across from me, and he's on his cell phone, and he called a phone number. You could tell. He said, "This is so and so, and I'm returning a phone call about a purchase." And I started listening, even though I was trying not to. But he's on his cell phone in a small waiting room, and I could hear what's going on. And about a minute into his call, I jumped up out of my chair. I looked at him and his wife, and I said, "You're being scammed." And then I looked at the wife. I said, "Your husband is being scammed. You need to hang up the phone." And they were both a little surprised, and he hung up the phone. Now, just because I do scam prevention for a living, this is not normal for me. And in fact, in 2 years of working part time for R.O.S E, this is the first time I've ever interrupted a scam phone call in progress. And but this is what happened. This potential victim, in this case, received a voicemail saying that his credit card had been used to purchase a very expensive video game system from a big box store. And the what they want to do is they want to confirm that it's legitimate. Well, of course, it's not legitimate because this person didn't buy it, but the whole thing's a scam. And they say, "Sir, your credit card is going to be charged like $800, $900. If Do you want to reverse it?" "Oh yeah, I didn't buy that. I didn't buy that." And what they do is they start walking you through providing all your personal information. So in this case, they first asked for his mailing address. So they need that for credit cards. And then eventually they get to the point, the billing zip code, your billing address. Then they ask for your credit card number to confirm. And they'll ask for everything. And when I heard this gentleman sitting in the waiting room providing his mailing address for his credit card, I knew he was being scammed. So I had to intervene. So I knew about this scam because my mother received two of these phone calls the prior weekend, and she told me about those two phone calls. And then remember, one of the things that Joyce and I talk about all the time is having a phone a friend. So when my mom gets a scam email, scam phone call, or anything, she lets me know. One, because I'm in the fraud prevention business, but two, I'm her son and I help, keep an eye out for her. My dad's the same way. He forwards me emails, he asks me, I'm his phone a friend as well. So what if I was wrong and this man was not being scammed? Well, he could have yelled at me and said, "Mind your own dang business." His wife could have yelled at me. Everybody in this waiting room could have been looking at me and thinking, "Who's this guy that needs to mind his own business?" Um, and I would have been stuck there waiting until my mom got called, and it would have been very uncomfortable. I mean, I could have gotten kicked out of the office if I was wrong. Maybe it could have ended really well. But here's the point, and that's the title of the show today. Sometimes we have to intervene. And in this case, it was the right thing. I took a chance and it all worked out. So this particular scam about a fake charge, it's very effective on people who I like to call rule followers. What is a rule follower? Well, a rule follower is a law abiding citizen who always tries to do the right thing. Um, and they're just good people. And the problem is rule followers get in trouble by scammers. Because if you're a procrastinator and you're a deadbeat and you don't follow the rules of civilization, it's hard to get you in a scam. But rule followers are very susceptible to being scammed. So, what else do rule followers do? Well, rule followers pay their bills on time, a lot of times even early. Rule followers put their shopping carts in those corrals at the grocery store. Rule followers clean up their table at a fast food restaurant. They don't leave a mess. Okay. I love rule followers. I'm a rule follower. My wife's a rule follower. Um, and it's just, so that's why this scam works. Scammers rely on rule followers to return phone calls. So You see your phone, you got a voicemail. Oh, okay. This is a big box store. And you ordered a $600, $800 gaming system. Call us if you don't want it. Well, what's a rule follower going to do? A rule follower is going to call the number back on the number provided, trusting that it's the big box store, and that's how it works. It's a normal human reaction to say, I didn't buy that gaming system. All right. So how do you prevent getting scammed in this thing? Um, you need to keep your wits, and you need to resist the urge to respond immediately. Joyce and I always talk about time is your friend. Okay. When we show our anatomy of a scam infographic, right in the middle of it is urgency. The scammers want you to react quickly and move quickly, not talk to anybody else, not think about it. Okay. We want to do everything very slow and methodical when it comes to scammers. So if you get a call or a voicemail about a large purchase somewhere, and like I said, it could be a video gaming system at a big box store, or my dad recently got an email claiming to be Norton, and they were going to charge him $500 for 3 years of some service. Um, you, if they call you, you hang up the phone. Um, if you get a voicemail, don't use the number that they provide. Okay, just delete that email. What you do is you contact the store directly through a verified number. So um, you go to the company's website, the legitimate website that you found on your own, and you find their contact. Or you could go to the store itself, okay? But never, ever, ever use the number provided by the scammers, okay? That's the clue. Like I've talked about before, if it's your bank that's claiming to call you about something, you pull out your ATM card, your debit card, flip it over, and call the number on the back. So, because that's the deal. If you use the number provided by the scammer, you are falling right into their trap. So, here's the deal. We have to have a healthy level of skepticism when it comes to every email or text message or voicemail that comes in. You have to react slowly and methodically to prevent being scammed. And, never be afraid to contact a trusted friend or a family member. You don't have to react right away. Call up your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, a neighbor, and just say, hey, I got this scary voicemail that said I bought this expensive product. I don't know if it's legitimate or not. So react really slowly. That's the key. Um, so please share this information today. This scam is very common and it's cheap and easy to do. So share this video. Please go to our Facebook page. We are on Facebook, roseadvocacy.org. Just follow us and you get these tips that we send out. If you're on LinkedIn, I'm a big LinkedIn fan. We're on LinkedIn as well. And the big thing that we do, and I talk about this every week when I close out the episode, is sign up for our monthly email. Go to roseadvocacy.org. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. And right on that front page, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. All we need is your name and your email. Very simple. And you will get an email once a month. And then we also send something out on Tuesday mornings. It's a very abbreviated version. And it's just good tips. And then when you get these emails, share it with your friends. And then even better, have them sign up and then have their friends sign up. These scammers are relentless. And the thing that bothers me the most about being in the scam prevention business is people do not have the same urgency that I have and that Joyce has and the members of our board and the members of our advisory committee have when it comes to scams. We see it every single day, and so many people are not doing enough. So at minimum, sign up for our monthly email. Like, it's free, and if you don't like it, you can cancel it and we won't be offended. But I know you won't cancel it because it's just good information. Get your neighbors, your friends, family, everyone to sign up. And because that's what I've learned being in law enforcement and being in the nonprofit world the last couple of years, is these scammers aren't going anywhere soon. And these scams keep repeating, and then they come up with new ones, and they're very good. They sound legitimate, and people fall victim every day. And like I said at the beginning of the show today, we are passionate about preventing people from being scammed. I would love to put myself out of a job. If we were that successful and there were no more scammers, I would have to find another part-time job. But I just know it's not going to happen because it's too profitable. On August 5th, next week, we are going to do a review of phishing and smishing. So emails and text messages meant to trick you. These are the most common ones that we're going to see. And it's just a good time to go back to the basics and review phishing and smishing. And I'm going to have some examples to put on the screen next week of all the latest ones that I've seen, that I've either received myself or I've seen online or my dad has sent me. So please join us next Tuesday morning, and we're going to talk phishing and smishing. All right. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there. Be very leery of every email, text message that you receive. And don't be scared, but just be empowered and don't fall for scams. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see everybody. See you all next week.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.